Okay, boys and girls, here she is in all her glory. Allison Conway, Harrison Bedford's little Brooklyn bitch. Poor girl can't hold her Jack and Coke.
This must have been shot at that party last spring.
That's right. Allison told us she passed out that night, and there's the evidence. I assume our narrator is Tagg.
Miss Allison here is attempting to sleep her way into high society, literally. Too bad she never learned the rule. You can't rise without the Vanderhook blessing.
I think I know where this is going.
So just to prove what a big-hearted guy I am, I'm gonna give it to her anyway. Watch closely, Harrison, buddy.
And it goes on from there.
I can understand why Franklin didn't want this to get out. Allison is like a sister to him.
But what does this do for our case? If Franklin didn't do it...
Then somebody framed him. Someone who had access to the weight room and Franklin's locker.
Could be Allison herself, if she knows about the video.
I think we need to have another talk with her. Should we tell her everything up front?
We got no choice. Paternity of her child is in question.
Yeah.
If she doesn't know that, she needs to.
Come on, Ray, she's just a kid. Her world has already been blown apart once. Last thing she needs right now is news like this. Why not wait until the test results are in? If Harrison's the father, she never needs to learn about the video.
Tell Alison. I think we should.
Watch closely, Harrison, buddy. You might learn a thing or two.
Turn it off. Turn it off!
If you need to be alone for a while, we can leave.
No. Who else knows about this? Who knows what he... Oh, God.
That's what we're trying to find out.
We have some reason to believe that he sent it to Harrison.
Then that explains the attack.
What attack?
Somebody ambushed Tagg. Split his face wide open.
Right, that's with the scar then. Scar came as a result of a fight. Ruled out as a suspect. Testified that Harrison beat Tagg to a pulp. Yeah. Did she say the scar came as a fight? I think she did. Yes.
They never told us who did it, but the rumor was it was Harrison. I didn't know whether to believe it. I mean, I knew he was pissed at Tagg for insulting me, but he wasn't the type to go postal like that.
Topics they never told us, and Brendan's father.
Your baby Brendan.
What about him?
There seem to be some doubts about his parentage.
Oh, God, no. Don't tell me.
There's no proof either way.
He's Harrison's son. He's Harrison's son.
They never told us?
When you say they never told you who attacked Tagg, what do you mean? Who's they?
Mrs. Boersma and the secretaries. They heard the screams and ran out into the hall.
Ah.
Wait, you're saying the fight happened at New Amsterdam?
Well, did this fit with the evidence so far? Well, I suppose. No.
If this is
Oh,
true,
no.
why didn't Mrs. Boersma say anything?
Beats me. I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what the other kids have told me. Supposedly, Mrs. Boersma hauled Harrison into her office, but it's not like he got expelled or anything. And then a week after that, he was dead.
Right. Why wasn't Tagg a suspect?
Why did nobody tell us this when we were investigating Harrison's murder? If what you're saying is true, then Tagg had a motive.
Tagg was already gone when Harrison was killed.
Gone? Gone where?
His mom pulled him out of school and sent him off to California to recuperate. They say she was furious with New Amsterdam, swore that the Vanderhooks were done with it.
Oh. So that fits in with the timeline. No! Oh no!
But then she turned around and donated a gym to the school that summer.
And Tagg was back in the fall, like nothing was wrong.
Something's wrong with this picture. Thanks for being forthcoming, Allison.
Are you gonna be okay?
I just need some time to think. Everything's different now, you know?
God help her if that baby turns out to be Tagg's.
Right. Vanderhook residence.
Furious at New Amsterdam? Of course I was furious. My son was savagely beaten in their halls. His face had to be sewn back together.
And yet you made a huge bequest just 3 weeks later. It doesn't square up. Why the change of heart?
Tagg convinced me to do it. Despite what had happened, he was devoted to the school.
What?
He told me it was the one place in all the world where he felt truly accepted.
What? No, I don't believe him. Confess Tagg never fit in. New Amsterdam were like oil and water. Alison said Tagg wanted to transfer elsewhere. Tagg smashed glass on trophy case to demonstrate contempt for school. That he never fit in. Yeah. She said oil and water.
You told the police that Tagg and New Amsterdam were like oil and water.
Did I? How odd.
It's time you told us the truth, Mrs. Vanderhook.
You're good. I like you. Yes, if you must know, the bequest was extorted from me.
Ah.
My reputation is the basis of my fortune, Miss Carmichael. Unfortunately, that makes me uniquely vulnerable to scandal. Somebody saw an opening and seized it. I would have been more forthcoming
So
if I
what
thought this
was
had
the
anything to do
scandal
with
then?
my son's murder.
But Tagg did figure in this scheme, didn't he? We've seen the video.
You have? That's not exactly the sort of thing that makes a mother proud. But then making mother proud was never very high on Tagg's to-do list.
Ah, right. So...
It must have been a nasty shock seeing Tagg's video.
What sort of reaction are you attempting to provoke here, counselor? Outrage? Tears? Bitter recriminations against my dead child? Sorry to disappoint you. My feelings are my own
I
business.
think that might be a red herring. Let's do the blackmail.
What we want to know is, who else knew about it? Who was extorting you?
Yeah.
But surely you've already guessed. Our beloved headmistress, Karen Boersma.
What?
Though how she got a hold of the video, I'll never know.
Who would she have tamed it from? Harrison? Go through his locker, perhaps? She was Harrison's private tutor, met Harrison in Central Park prior to his fatal jog, hosted a party at which the video was shot. She called Harrison into her office after the fight. That one. After the fight.
She hauled Harrison into her office right after the fight. She must have forced it out of him then. It would explain why she didn't expel him.
However she got it, she understood immediately what it could do to my reputation. The son of Trisha Vanderhook? Forcing himself on some inebriated little tramp? On camera yet? The press would fight to get their claws on the footage.
Oh, not
The
that he's
price
done
was
something
steep.
wrong then.
It wasn't too much to pay for a guarantee that the video wouldn't get out. So I paid up, and that was the end of it.
Wow. So what did Tagg know? Let's go for
Mrs.
the
Boersma
guarantee.
guaranteed that the video wouldn't get out? How could you be confident she wouldn't turn around
Yeah.
and extort more money out of you next year?
I made sure she couldn't do that. In exchange for my generous donation, she gave me an insurance packet.
Meaning?
A handwritten statement of what she'd done, signed and dated. If the video gets out, so does her confession. Mutually assured destruction. Always good for keeping hostile superpowers quiet.
Do you still have this statement?
Yes, and I intend to hold on to it. Unless
Ah.
you can prove this has something to do with Tagg's murder.
Well, the video did come out, so that's
Did Tagg
all
know
out of
you
the
were
wash
being
now, so-
blackmailed on account of him?
No. As far as he knew, there were only 2 people in the world who knew about his little excursion into filmmaking, and one of them was dead.
Who's this true? No, because who's the cameraman? Note on video so that everyone else has seen it. Mr. Vedford confessed to knowing about the video. Tagg referred to a live audience. Mrs. Vanderhook earlier stated that she had no secrets. I don't know. There was an audience, no?
Tagg bragged to Franklin Bedford that the video was a box office hit.
Did he? Ah, how tacky.
He knew somebody was making money off it.
Yes, I suppose I did let the secret slip out.
What? So when did he learn?
When did you tell Tagg about your arrangement with Mrs. Boersma?
April Fool's Day.
What? Yeah. Tagg mentioned an April Fool's Day surprise to Franklin. Mrs. Vanderbilt already confessed to a big fight with Tagg on that day. Yes. It all went downhill from April Fool's.
He'd gone and wrecked his Maserati again, and he was expecting, no, demanding I should get it fixed for him. For once I put my foot down. Well, he flew into a childish rage, called me a cheapskate, started screaming about how I never did anything for him. So I let him know exactly what his shenanigans had cost me. It shut him up.
Right, Tagg's game.
Tagg made a comment about the video, that he was planning to get his share of the box office. Do you have any idea what he meant by that?
A few days before he died, Tagg informed me that he no longer needed my money. He said he'd found another way to pay for the Maserati.
Did he say what that was?
I asked, but all he would say was, "A good example is the best sermon."
Ah, have we encountered this before? We certainly have. It's in the headmistress' office. On the wall there. Excellent.
Extortion seems to be going around this season. I think we found your son's murderer.
Franklin Bedford.
Was framed.
Is this true? Yes. By the only one that had access to the locker. Who had the means, motive and opportunity? Headmistress, but I can't remember her name, so it's got to be this one. Excellent. Yes.
By Mrs. Boersma. She put that metal in his mouth, and she planted the gun in his locker.
But why? That little matter between her and me was resolved to our mutual satisfaction.
But not to Tagg's satisfaction. He saw how his headmistress had profited off his video, and he figured turnabout was fair play. After all, you're not the only one who can be severely damaged by a scandal. Probably never realized how far she might go to avoid one.
Tagg? Extort Karen Boersma? He might be reckless enough to try it, I'll grant you, but it would have been his word against hers. He had nothing to hold against her unless... Excuse me a minute, would you? The insurance policy is gone. Karen Boersma's signed confession. It's missing from the safe.
Did you make a copy of it?
No. He's the only one who could have taken it. But could he really be reckless enough to... Look who I'm talking about. Of course he could.
We can bring her to justice without it, if you'll agree to testify.
No, absolutely not. As I've explained to you, I can't afford scandal.
But what about Tagg?
Right.
If trashing my reputation could bring him back, I'd do it in a heartbeat. But it wouldn't. Tagg's dead, but the Vanderhook name still lives. Its power is based on perception.
Mine is based on truth, and if you won't help me expose the truth about who killed Tagg, I'll find someone who can.
Right. Excellent work. Well, we found red herring as well.
New Amsterdam Preparatory Academy.
Could I speak to Mrs. Boersma, please? This is Franklin Bedford. I feel kind of funny about this. I mean, she's my headmistress.
And she framed you for murder. Do you want to see her get away with it?
No way. But I don't know what to say to her.
You don't want to get her mad or scared, but you do want to let her know you're onto her game, and you want a piece of the action. Play it exactly the way Tagg would have played it.
We'll cue you along. You'll be fine.
Franklin, how nice of you to call. I was so relieved when they dropped the charges against you. Of course, I never stopped believing in your innocence.
Thanks.
I'm sorry that the board voted to drop you from the class roster. Purely a business decision, you understand. I assume that's why you're calling. You want me to reinstate you?
Yes, I want to be reinstated. No, I want justice. No, I want money.
Say no. You want money.
Actually, what I need right now is money.
Well, I'm afraid I can't help you there. What's this about?
In order to lure the headmistress into a confrontation, you need to convince her that you've got the goods on her, just like Tagg. I know how you got the gym. I know you killed Tagg. I know about Tagg's video. Let's start with the gym.
Tell her you know where the new gym came from.
I know where the new gym came from.
Of course, everybody does. It was a very generous gift from Trisha Vanderhook.
A photocopy of your confession. I've got your confession. I've heard the rumours. Oh no.
You've got a copy of her confession.
Nah, that gym was no gift. I've got a copy of a paper here that says it was blackmail.
What do you want from me?
Aha. Straight to the point. I want to finish out the school year. I want to meet. I want to hear you confess. Sounds a bit... Let's do the
Tell her
meet.
you want to meet.
Let's meet and, talk things over.
Where?
Workout room, your office, Central Park Carousel. Let's, the workout room.
The workout room. Midnight.
He would find it too intimidating to be in her office.
You do have a flair for the theatrical, don't you? All right. Merely out of curiosity, you understand. I'm not admitting to anything.
Right. Great. You increase your detective rank. What code does she put
Mrs.
in?
Boersma,
What? What are you doing? How dare
you're
you?
under arrest for the murder of Tagg Vanderhook.
You have no case against me.
Maybe not at the moment, but we will as soon as we pull the codes from this keypad lock. I'll lay you 7 to 1. The code you entered just now matches the one used on the day of the murder.
Listen, gentlemen, perhaps we can come to an arrangement. It isn't myself I'm thinking of. It's New Amsterdam Prep. A scandal would be very bad right now.
You should have thought of that before you launched your little extortion scheme.
I didn't set out to kill the boy, but he forced my hand. And
What?
anyway, he deserved it. He was a bully and a rapist and an extortionist to boot. Ending his vicious little life was a service to humanity.
Wow.
Interesting defense. We'll see if the jury buys it.
Judge in the Boersma trial just passed sentence. 20 to life.
Like the man said, a good example is the best sermon.
Let's hope all his students were paying attention.
Verdict is in on the paternity test, too. Turns out Harrison was the father.
Happy endings all around at the Bedford house.
I don't know about that. We still don't have a lead on Harrison's killer. I kept hoping some new evidence would turn up at this trial, but no luck.
Maybe Tagg did it after all.
If he did, he could have left us some proof before getting himself killed. I'd hate to go to my grave not knowing.
There's a lot we'll never know. Don't let it spoil your sleep.
Well, that was Side Effects. See you in the next one.